tight spandex. But with that one, it was kind of like doing live action. I think it's more like maybe theater because everything had to be bigger. You know, like if I was gonna nod, like if I nodded to somebody, I might just do that. You know, like they. But for that, if that small of a movement won't read. It'd have to be like that, you know, or much bigger. Like all your actions had to be really big.
So it's like being on stage playing to the back of the house, as opposed to playing to a camera, which is 6 feet away.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was still not the same. Like when I went in for the audition, I was just acting, film acting.
Right, right.
And they're like, you have to move much more than that, you know. And so I was like, oh, okay, like this, you know. And they're like, well, yeah. I was like, okay. So I had to. You know, it's just much bigger. Everything's much bigger, but it's over dramatic, but at the same time you have to, your voice can't be that way though.
Right.
Your voice can't be over the top. So I was trying to find out how to make my voice right, like as though I was really...
So you were doing both performances at the same time? They didn't go back and do ADR for it later?
We did. Well, they recorded everything, like they captured my face because they had a camera attached to my face here, so everywhere I went they captured my facial expression.
Wow.
They captured my body expressions. And for all the fights and all the whatever that we did, and then they did record voice,
but that was more reference.
Scratch track.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Which I actually liked a lot of that performance better than because like for me when I'm there I'm in the moment.
No, absolutely.
And in the booth it's like I have this really heavy dramatic scene that I had to do and I was like oh boy I had to prepare for that. And when I was there I had enough time to prepare for it. But since I do voice acting, I was able to, more off. But yes, we did actually redo the voice later on.
Very interesting. Now, have you gotten into some of these video games now? They're so technologically advanced that they have these interstitial like movies where it's actually like recording animation again, where you're in the room with other actors. Have you done any games like that?
How do you mean?
Well, like for instance, when we did Spider-Man 3. There were little movies in between action sequences, so there were actually all 6 actors in the booth reading the scenes together, as opposed to when you record a game, it's usually just you and you read all your independent lines.
Oh, well, like pre-lag, basically.
Yeah, but well, no, it's actually, I mean, it's a complete soundtrack for like a mini movie.
Yeah.
But they're recording everybody together, but not all these games are doing that yet. I'm just wondering if you've done anything like that.
Do that. Yeah, I've only done that maybe once.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, I mean, it was like going back to animation. It was so great. It was like one of my favorite days working on a game. Deborah Wilson from Mad TV was also one of the actors in the booth that day. So I mean, she's nuts in a good way. In a good way. It was a lot of fun. It was like really great to act opposite of another actor and say a line and have it bounce back.
Get what they're doing right now. Like I'm doing well, it's not a video game, but I'm doing a Nickelodeon show, and Stephanie Shade, she's in the booth with me in LA, and then they have some guys in New York or whatever, and so it's kind of like we're all talking to each other, so we can feed off of each other. But then there's always like one character that's not there, and then it's like, well, he's going to say it this way, and I was like, okay, well, if he says it that way, I have to. My response has to be correct, otherwise,
Then you got to have a strong director. It's just like any ADR. I mean, to be honest with you, if the director on the piece that you're working on isn't good, you could have the greatest performances in the world, but they're just not going to match.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the thing that sucks, I think, for us, because like people don't usually blame the director.
No.
It's the actor that voice actor there. So we can say whatever we want. We can do whatever we're doing. We can read our lines or whatever and act, and then. If the director's vision isn't correct, or if he tells us this is what's really happening when this really isn't what's happening, then he makes us look like fools.
Yeah, that can happen. Anybody got any questions? Yes.